Hey guys, it's Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. This is video number 3 of 3 in my Shameless Bribe series. I am looking for your last minute celebration orders. Maybe you've been holding out on something that you want. It's getting to be the last couple of days of celebration here. By the time you're seeing this video, there are only 3 days left, and there's only 1 day left on my special promotion. So the promotion is a host code bonus. If you place a $100 order using this host code, I'm going to send you a make and take packet for this thank you kindly card. This is the third project. I will link the series of videos below. Second project in the make and take packet that you'll receive absolutely for free and automatically when you place your $100 orders using this host code, MarisaAlvarez.stampinup.net, is this adorable little envelope treat bag. And then the first in the video series was this Fun Fold You Inspire Me card. So to get the make and take packet absolutely free from me, and if you haven't already indulged yourself in the gift from Stampin' Up, the Delicate Dahlias, you can get the Delicate Dahlias for free from Stampin' Up. So it's a really great deal to end celebration with here. You get the stamp set for free from Stampin' Up and the projects to start stamping right away from me. Now, if you've got the Delicate Dahlias, of course, you can go ahead and choose different gifts. It doesn't matter which celebration gifts you choose. As long as your order is $100 before tax and shipping and you use this host code, you'll get the make and take packets from me in the mail automatically. If your order is over $100, you're doing a $150 order to get the celebration benefits for $150 and the host rewards, then just email me and let me know that you saw this offer and you want this kit. I love personal workshops where you get the host rewards too. All right, let's start with our designer series paper this time. This is another free gift during celebration. This is a $50 item. It's the beautifully penned designer series paper. Now this is a 12 by 12 paper pack, and there's 6 black and white patterns, and this pack can be yours for free with a $50 order. These black and white patterns are lovely, but look what happens when you add just a little bit of color. I'm gonna grab my small grid paper and my first piece of designer series paper. This is 1 inch by 3.5 inches. And I have got here my Real Red Stampin' Blends combo and Garden Green Stampin' Right. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna fill in my flowers with the Real Red Stampin' Blends. Now you can see this is not about making it perfect. You really don't have to. I'm just scribbling in and I'm even leaving some little white highlights. You want to do all of the big red flowers, but leave the little flowers white. It adds just an extra little dimension. So I'm going to leave these little kind of sideways blooms white, but get these full front ones red. Now I'm going to take my dark Real Red and just add a splash of shadow, kind of reinforcing that center. And then wherever it's necessary, I'm going to just touch with a little bit more of the light Real Red. That's it. Looks great, don't you think? Now, the leaves. We do not have a Garden Green Stampin' Blend, otherwise I might have just used it. But since we don't, and that's what color I'm using, I'm going to grab a block and a Stampin' Right, and I'm just going to scribble some Garden Green ink right on the block. I've got an aqua painter, and I'm going to pick up that ink with the aqua painter, and then just add some Garden Green to my leaves. I'm using the same kind of fill in. I'm going to just scribble it in and leave a little bit of white. The artist kind of drew in some lines where there might be some shadow on the leaves, so I'll go back and add a little bit extra intensity where those little lines are from the artist. And if you run out, the color's not intense enough for you, just scribble a little bit more ink on that block. All right, there it is. I'm gonna clean my aqua painter, no more green ink. And let's set this aside to dry for just a minute. Isn't that gorgeous? Didn't that paper just transform before your eyes? The other piece of designer series paper for this is 1 inch by 3 3/4. But before we glue those down, let's do this greenery die on our background. So I've got a piece of basic white cardstock here. It's 4 by 5 1/4. And the greenery, stitch greenery die from Stampin' Up. I love this die. It's gonna put that amazing texture on the background of our card. Such a pretty complement to the beautifully penned floral and the Delicate Dahlia stamp set. All right, cardstock on number 3. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and your die. You can see from these platforms that I use this a lot, and I have used this for hundreds and hundreds of cuts. I've done thank you cards with it. I've done class kits with it, and it's still just giving great results. So this is going to be a keeper in my supplies. I let some things go. I sell my retired things often, but once in a while something really grabs my heart and I end up keeping it. So this is really something that I'll keep forever. The texture that it adds is just so easy and so beautiful. All right, so it's going to be stuck in the die, especially after you've used it for hundreds of cuts like I have. You just want to pop it out and then kind of leverage. Try not to roll it too much. You want your piece to be as flat as possible when you pull it out. You can glue this down nice and tight with a dry adhesive. If it rolls out of the die, you get a crease. Any sort of bending or waffling of the paper. You want to be careful with liquid glue because it will squeeze out from the stitches if you use too much. If you're really heavy-handed with liquid glue, I recommend a dry adhesive for this. You could even put a piece of the Stampin' Up adhesive sheet on the back, and that would hold it down without squeezing the glue out of the stitching. All right, there's our card. It was 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And let's go ahead and glue down our stitch greenery panel. I'm going to use liquid glue, but the key here is to go with very thin little lines, like more places, but less quantity. So just lots of little very thin squiggles will work just fine. Center of that, and then we can glue our designer series paper strips on top of that. Isn't that so pretty? Can't even stand it. All right, sample back in. And our stripe piece, maybe 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. And our gorgeous floral. Isn't that just so pretty? Oh my goodness. Can't even stand it. Imagine the possibilities depending on what colors you put for those flowers. Such a beautiful paper. All right, and then we're going to overlap that by 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. Looks good. All right, let's do some stamping. I've got a couple of pieces here. This is basic white, and it's die cut using the Scallop Contours die set. It's the second largest. That's for the inside liner of our card. And then I've got scrap of basic white here. That's for our dahlias. And ahead of time, I stamped 2 more of these leaves, cut them out so that we could have a little head start. I've got 1 more piece here that's already die cut for you from basic white. This is the smallest clip corner tag, and I cut that one using the tailor-made tags. Well, I got this die chart out for you. I'll show you this too. From basic black, we cut the little D enforcer. So that's all from the tailor-made tags dies. All right, let's get some ink here. I'm going to start with my garden green and my leaf. I'm going to stamp my leaf in garden green on the scrap of basic white, and then I'm also going to stamp it on this scalloped stitch, or this one's actually pierced, scalloped pierced just off in the bottom corner here, just up against the piercing and leaving a little bit room for our decorations inside. Now to fill these, there is a fill stamp that's distinctive. So it's got this nice shadowing already on it and details. We're going to do 3rd generation, so stamp off twice and then line up and fill. And then same for the 3 for the outside. Uh-oh, that didn't stamp level. Let's try that again so we get a nice even fill. There. All right, there are our leaves. Now let's do our flowers. Got the little bloom for the inside. That's cherry cobbler. And we've got the dahlia for the outside, and that's real red. Let's get our ink pads here. I'm going to start with the dahlia for the outside. Now, in the first video in this series, I did a quick tip on how to apply the dahlia to the block so that when you stamp the line, I'll turn this outline, and then you stamp the fill, it'll be very easy to line up. So there's our outline. And then the fill is this gorgeous distinctive. It's going to give you highlights and shadows. But if you've ever been like, which way do I put this flower? And you go all around the mulberry bush trying to figure it out, check out the video in the first one in the series for an awesome tip on how to get this right with very little fuss. All right, so real red. Now we're going to stamp off and then fill. Notice how all I did was turn it to the right direction and then do a little bit of shifting to line it up just right. No all around the mulberry bush. I knew exactly where to find my landmarks and how to find them. All right, cherry cobbler next. I need one more little scrap of basic white. And we're gonna do the little bloom for inside, cherry cobbler line. And then the fill is going to be stamped off. We'll do 2nd generation. So pretty. All right, slide these guys to the side. We have to do our thank you kindly greeting. Oh man, that's one of the things that got me. The oh so happy for you greeting and the thank you kindly greeting are one of the things that tipped me to order the $100 of product to get the Delicate Dahlias for free. I really love the greetings in this set. We're going to stamp our thank you kindly with memento, and we're going to stamp it a little bit left of center so that our leaf can flow over the tag. And then put away the ink pad before I ruin something. Clear away the Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm going to glue this little D enforcer to my tag before I lose it. Now we got to cut out our leaves and our blooms. We'll be right back with these guys all cut out and we'll assemble our card. All right, guys, I'm back with my cutouts. We've got open space. Bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to cut a couple of little sprigs to decorate. So you got a little dual sprig for the outside, a little single sprig for the inside, and those are from the sunflower dies. And I know a lot of you have purchased these sunflower dies, the leaves and sprigs especially, but the whole die set will coordinate really nicely with your Delicate Dahlias stamp set when you get that one for free. So I got some garden green cardstock and my little sprigs. Let's get them up here and crank these through. I think this is the last 2 cranks for these tired cutting pads. You can see I use them until they crack and bleed. Get our beautiful little sprig. I love that. All right, let's get this card put together. First thing I'm going to do is just kind of tear off some of the bottom leaves on our sprig. It makes it a little bit more manageable. It's not going to be a part of the design anyway, so we'll get those out of there. And then let's bring in our card and our sample. I want to run some black and white ribbon through that tag really quick. Now here is how I usually do tags. I leave the ribbon on the spool and run for a little tag like this from the palm of my hand to about the first knuckle of my middle finger. Then from the front, I fold up and just pinch the ribbon over the top and pull through. So you notice there's no anchor knot. And then I'm just going to bring that over to the top of the tag, a little adjustment. And what you have here is ears up, tails down, just like you want it, no effort. Cut it away from the spool so there's no waste, unless you cut it crooked. And then when you trim this tail, that's all that you'll throw away. So perfect bow with little or no waste. Let's adhere the inside of the card with some liquid glue. We'll just center that right on the inside of our card. What a beautiful frame, huh? And then our single sprig, that one's next. Liquid glue for that guy. If you ever find you have too much glue, just grab the next piece that you have to glue down and pick up some of the glue. It's a very worthwhile little step to keep your project nice and neat. So add that little sprig and then just a touch more glue, add the little flower. Isn't that a beautiful inside? The inside is almost as beautiful as the outside. Now, outside, we need some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm using the basic black combo pack, and I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of my dahlia. I'm using the edges. Don't ever throw these edges away. It's kind of a waste. Use every little bit. And then we're going to add the dahlia to the front of the card. Keep in mind that your leaves are going to need a little place to rest. Okay, then your tag also, but we don't want to cover too much of that beautiful designer series paper that we colored. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to give this a little rotate forward just a bit. There we go. Now the tag is going to have a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue on this side and one of those little half Stampin' Dimensionals on the bottom corner, because we're going to span the dahlia that's already bumped and the card front that's not. Put that guy on there. Make sure your greeting's level. Now your leaves. I like to put them in where I want them to ultimately land. And once I've got where I want them to ultimately land, then I like to put the dimensional behind. That allows you to kind of dry fit and make sure the adhesive is in exactly the right place. Now we're going to add the sprigs behind, so we don't want to do too much dimensional because we're going to glue those down behind. Next one, and we got 3 little leaves here that will dry fit first and then add some dimensional behind to secure. Alrighty, it's so beautiful, but let's add our final little details here. We've got our double sprig. Let's put some multi-purpose liquid glue on the back. And I've got a brand new bottle here, so I'm being very careful. Like they used to say in the preschool with the kids, ... You don't need a lot. And we're going to slide that right in behind the leaf and the dahlia here. I love the difference in texture this little die cut sprig brings. You've got all that distinctive floral and greenery, and when you bring in that solid cardstock cut out, it just adds a visual texture that's so pleasing. Now the last step is to get it some bling. I've got my basic rhinestone gems, and take your pick tool. Let's go ahead and bling it up. I love it. All right, thank you kindly. And thank you kindly for your $100 orders using the host code. I'll send you the make and take packets for these awesome projects. If you've got any questions about the project, the offer, celebration, anything I can do to help you stay crafty, you can email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. And to shop Stampin' Up 24/7, buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.